honestly, when I seen it, I laughed because it's so funny that everybody always says the same thing about Kevin and AB. It's, oh, they think they're the smartest people in the room. And so clearly he was taking that shot at him, and it was funny just to see that. But I just thought it was kind of funny that Kevin didn't, that's his boy. Like, that's like somebody coming up to me and saying something crazy about G. Bush. And I'm like, you think I ain't going to say nothing? Like, hey, chill out. What you talking about? Like, it's one of those type things.
Or he is kind of crazy. He be doing too much.
But like, that's crazy that, see, like, this just feeds the narrative of that. Like, this is exactly what you.
That's not a request that we made. That being said, I want to be clear. Like, that would have no bearing in terms, like, whether he participated or not. That has no bearing in terms of like how we think of it. But I don't know where it came from. Did you see our meeting? In the room, so to speak.
To be honest, it was shocking to me. Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us, because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a quarterback that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area. But that's just my personal feelings.
Andrew Berry just went full nuclear on Mike Tomlin, and it's got the entire NFL buzzing. Explosive tension, dramatic office strolls, and eyebrow-raising shots about Shadur Sanders, and wait for it, Joe Flacco. Did someone actually hit the big red button inside the Browns' front office? You won't believe how fast things went off the rails, and how Shedeur somehow became the lightning rod for it all. Buckle up, because this mess just turned into a full-blown Cleveland circus. Andrew Berry, the Browns GM, somehow found himself staring down Mike Tomlin.
Hey, Mike Tomlin, hot. Mike Tomlin looking at Cleveland talking about, and Andrew Berry them like, bruh, what y'all doing? Y'all take Joe Flacco, which you made him your starting quarterback, and then you send him to a team in our division, yours and mine, to a team that need a quarterback. That's all they need is a quarterback. That ain't smart. He must be smarter than me and the team here. Mike Tomlin didn't like that, like, bruh.
Yes, that Mike Tomlin, the calm, composed Steelers coach who rarely throws shade at anyone, let alone another executive. But something snapped this time. Some lines in the NFL just aren't meant to be crossed. And guess what? The Browns stepped right over them. Again. So here's the chaos checklist. Flacco traded mid-season to a division rival. Check. Salary cap nightmare that looks straight out of a horror movie. Check. And in the middle of it all, Shadur Sanders, the rising quarterback everyone in Cleveland suddenly treats like a football messiah after years of heartbreak.
A lot of people was wondering what the hell is going on with the Cleveland Browns. Now, I am about to tell you guys what sources has been saying, what people in the media is saying that is currently going on with the Cleveland Browns, and it's just hell freezing over for them. I don't believe Kevin Stefanski is going to be the coach next year. I believe Andrew Berry's definitely going to be there. I don't believe Kevin Stefanski is going to be coaching the Browns next year. Kevin Stefanski is pretty much throwing up the big middle fingers to the Browns organization and the Browns.
This isn't drama. This is the NFL's version of a mid-season reality show fight, the kind where everyone forgets the cameras are still rolling. And Tomlin, the man known for calm under fire, he snapped. He broke the unwritten NFL code, the one that says coaches don't name names, don't call out front offices, and definitely don't torch someone publicly. Yet, there he was, calling out Cleveland's leadership like it was a live TV roast. Because the Browns made the kind of bone-chilling moves that scream, we don't care about structure, we live for chaos. Let's rewind. The Browns have built an entire identity around beautiful disaster football. They've traded quarterbacks like kids swapping baseball cards at recess. Baker Mayfield, gone. Joe Flacco, traded to a division rival mid-playoff hunt. Seriously. Deshaun Watson, signed to a deal so massive that other GMs probably needed therapy after reading the numbers. While other teams chase structure and discipline, the Browns seem addicted to the meltdown. Their analysts must stare at the roster wondering, wait, are we actually trying to lose? And here's the wildest part. This wasn't some deep rebuild or patient trust the process philosophy. No, this was peak Cleveland panic mode.
Is saying what all the Browns fans are thinking, man. Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry don't know what they're doing, specifically with the quarterback position. It's something I've been telling y'all. Hey, there is no proof that the Browns develop well. There's no proof that the Browns choose well at the quarterback position. Nothing has been said that they do the right thing at the quarterback position. So Mike Tomlin, after beating the Browns for the 22nd consecutive time at home, he went ahead and literally called out
The kind of all-in gamble that screams desperation, mortgaging the future for the faintest glimmer that Deshaun Watson might suddenly turn into a miracle worker. The Browns didn't just cross the line this time, they blew it up. They didn't just hurt their salary cap, they obliterated it. The Browns gutted their draft capital, torched their future, and then, in one jaw-dropping midseason stunt, traded Joe Flacco to a division rival. Yes, you heard that right.
Joe Flacco to a team that got wide receivers, running back, O-line, D solid, and you gonna put him in the AFC North. You was just starting him on your squad. Why you gonna give him to them? Trade that joker anywhere, but not to the AFC North. And honestly, get him out the AFC. Put him in the NFC. Mike Tomlin looking at the Browns like, boy, y'all some dumb jokers over there. Like, y'all ain't got them all. Y'all ain't got it together over there. He said Andrew Beard.
Cleveland handed the Bengals a playoff boost on a silver platter, all while pretending it was some kind of forward-thinking, genius-level strategy. And when Mike Tomlin saw that circus unfold, the man just couldn't keep quiet anymore. Like any legendary coach who actually respects the game, he broke the NFL's coach code wide open. On live TV, he called out Andrew Berry by name. No filters, no subtle hints, just straight-up accountability. In doing so, Tomlin didn't just bend the rules, he detonated them. The blast echoed all across the AFC North, and suddenly every front office in the league was watching Cleveland like it was a slow-motion car crash. Now, let's shift the spotlight to the calm in this storm. Shadur Sanders, the kid who somehow walked out of Cleveland's chaos looking unbothered, focused, and every bit the future superstar they desperately need. Here's the twist. While the Browns are busy burning down their own house and pointing fingers, Shedeur is quietly showing that real talent doesn't need drama to shine. He's the total opposite of the franchise's chaos culture. Calm under pressure, disciplined, and flat-out electric on the field. But here's the million-dollar question. Will the Browns finally realize what's right in front of them? Or will they do what they always do? Panic, overthink, and make another catastrophic decision that sets them back another decade. Think about it.
Expected there, but nonetheless, does he have a fair complaint, Steelers fan Stephen A?
Yes, I don't want to say it's unfair. I mean, he's right. He's right with what he's saying, but I'm just like, well, no, I think he's right about what he's saying, but why should the Browns be concerned about where it's all about the assets that you get, what you're looking for. You got Joe Flacco, what can you get for Joe Flacco? You're gonna say you got somebody desperate enough to give us a couple of picks for him or whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm just saying they're not thinking about, the division moving forward next year, the year after, or anything like that. And they know how much they're hurting. And if the Bengals come and they're so desperate that they're willing to make an offer, it's like, it's no big deal to me.
This is the same team that traded away 6 draft picks for Deshaun Watson. And now, with a generational quarterback prospect sitting right in front of them, they're somehow debating, do we actually want a winner this time? Every Browns fan should feel a chill hearing that, because history says Cleveland's favorite hobby is self-sabotage. Let's talk about that timeline of blunders. Trading Joe Flacco midweek to a division rival, that's like handing your rival the answers to the final exam, and then bragging about how hard you studied. It's mind-blowing. Cleveland's not just breaking the rules, they're rewriting them in Chaos Inc. Some insiders even believe Andrew Berry didn't personally sign off on that Flacco trade.
I normally agree with Mike Tomlin. Although he is a division rivals coach, I think he knows what he's talking about. He's a Hall of Fame level coach, has been in the job for as long as he has for a reason, never had a losing season with the Steelers. But I think he's off base here. And the reason I believe he's off base is because when Joe Flacco was sat, he was leading the league in interceptions thrown. And as a quarterback, especially your starting quarterback, being as old as he is, experienced as he is, it just could not be happening. He was making reads that rookies are making and incorrect errors that rookies make, and he's been in the league far.
And that's where Mike Tomlin's fury comes in. He's not out here throwing shade for clout. He's protecting the league's competitive integrity. And the deeper irony? Shadur Sanders is about to enter the NFL draft right as Cleveland teeters between a major rebuild and a complete implosion. He's a proven winner, calm, composed, and the kind of locker room stabilizer teams dream about. But now he's staring down a brutal question. Do I go to Cleveland and try to save this sinking ship, or do I watch it go down from a safe distance? For any quarterback, that's a nightmare scenario. But for Shedeur, it's just another headline in a wild spotlight-filled chapter of his rise. Now, to understand why Tomlin's reaction was so explosive, let's revisit the Browns' greatest hits of dysfunction. Baker Mayfield, once written off, is now playing like an MVP candidate, tossed aside by Cleveland after one injury. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson's massive contract hangs over the franchise like an anchor, weighing them down with no return in sight. And while all that chaos spins, Shadur Sanders keeps doing what he does best, winning with class, not controversy. He doesn't need chaos. He doesn't need the hype. He just needs one thing.
For Mike Tomlin to comment about it, I mean, he has every right to do it. I don't think he's wrong with what he's saying because I do think that's an aberration. It's an anomaly. I don't think that's normal. But the fact that it happened is not a big deal.
Yeah, but nobody questioned what the Cleveland Browns were doing. We all praised it and said it made sense. Joe Flacco in 4 games led the league in turnovers. They were done with him. The Cleveland Browns are in a reconnaissance mission to figure out what they got in those young QBs and whether or not those guys can be a part of the solution at that position moving forward. Nobody questioned the logic behind Andrew Berry trading
an organization that's actually willing to build around him. That's the real test for Cleveland right now. Can the Browns finally break the cycle of chaos, or are they doomed to repeat the same heartbreak in spectacular headline-making fashion? The 2025 NFL Draft isn't just another offseason event. It's a full-blown turning point. Cleveland has a golden chance to hit reset. They can draft Shadur Sanders, surround him with real talent, and finally commit to a long-term vision that doesn't blow up halfway through the season. Or they can do what they've always done: panic, overthink, and torch another decade of potential before it even begins. This is the crossroads moment. The decision that could define the Browns' entire identity for the next 10 years. You never publicly embarrass someone in this league because one day you might need to work with them again. But Mike Tomlin? He ignored that unspoken rule, and for good reason. The Browns didn't just fumble a move, they undermined a team fighting to win the division. That's not bad management. That's reckless sabotage. It's a franchise helping their rival while pretending they're in the same race. And apparently, that was the final straw for Tomlin, who's seen plenty of NFL chaos but drew the line right here. And where does that leave Shadur Sanders? Smack in the middle of the league's biggest front office meltdown. He's the calm, gifted, battle-tested quarterback sitting back and watching a team crumble under its own confusion.
But now I can ask it in earnest. Who's the bigger problem? Is it Andrew Berry or is it Kevin Stefanski with this team?
I think it's Andrew Berry. I think that the talent.
Tell me why.
I think the talent on this team assembled has not been good enough, and that is across all levels. And yes, we have to sit here and say that the 2025 draft that Andrew Berry had looks like a smashing success. It looks like they have a lot of guys that are going to be good players in the NFL for a long time. However, I think a lot of what he has done in years leading up to that has put us in the results that we are in right now. Even if you don't want to put the Deshaun Watson trade, which I think is the worst trade in the history of this sport, if you want to put that on ownership and not on Andrew Berry,
Shedeur could become the redemption story Cleveland's been praying for, or he could end up being the next generational talent wasted by a franchise allergic to stability. For Browns fans, this is pure emotional whiplash. Part nail-biting tension, part anxiety, and part popcorn-worthy drama you can't stop watching. Let's be real, this isn't a one-time screw-up. Cleveland's disaster is systemic. It's baked into their DNA at this point. Baker Mayfield shipped out before his prime. Deshaun Watson's contract eating the entire salary cap. Joe Flacco traded mid-season to a rival, and through all of it, no clear plan, no steady vision, no real direction. And then there's Shadur Sanders, who represents exactly what they've been missing: a reset button, a chance to finally build something sustainable. He's the kind of player who can change the entire trajectory of a franchise if handled right. But here's the burning question: can they actually handle him? That's the $230 million mystery hanging over Cleveland right now.
where he directly called out Andrew Berry. He was asked a question about the Joe Flacco trade, and Kevin Stefanski was asked about that quote.
Yeah, I heard it, yeah.
This is what Kevin Stefanski said in response to what Mike Tomlin said. And I quote, "I don't have a comment on that." End quote. Tyvis, you weren't here yesterday, so what do you think about Tomlin calling out Andrew Berry? And then two, Bull, you talked about you want a coach that's going to inspire, light guys up, have a little fire. Yeah. Do you think, knowing how Jimmy Haslam acted and has acted in the past, and who said this?
It's almost poetic. The Browns have spent years showing the league exactly how not to run a franchise. Yet, standing in the middle of the wreckage is Shadur Sanders, ready, confident, and probably wondering why anyone insists on making football this complicated. And that's where the beauty of this story lies. In the stakes, the 2025 draft could be the beginning of Cleveland's redemption arc. Or this could be yet another tragic chapter in Cleveland's long, chaotic history of blown chances and heartbreak. Shadur Sanders is the key, the golden ticket. And everyone across the league is holding their breath, because if the Browns can't figure it out this time, how many more decades of frustration can fans possibly survive? The irony is almost too perfect. A generational quarterback prospect ready to save a franchise that can't even win a game without causing collateral damage. Tomlin sees it. The NFL sees it. The whole football world sees it. And yet Cleveland somehow keeps tripping over its own shoelaces. So here's the current scoreboard of madness. Andrew Berry just got publicly roasted on national television.
Mike Tomlin confirmed not an Andrew Berry guy.
Not an Andrew Berry guy. Look, I think it was a subtle shot at Andrew Berry, but let's be real. I don't think it would have been as big of a deal in his mind if they weren't playing the Bengals on a short week, who, by the way, looked pretty solid yesterday with Joe Flacco quarterback against arguably the best team in the NFC. I don't know, Zay. What did you think of those comments?
So shot. That was shots of all shots, hip fire, quick trigger. You better look out and duck below. That's what type of shot that was. But there's a lot of comments going on that, is it part of the head coach fraternity? Maybe trying to side with Kevin Stefanski? I don't know. Either way, I think if Mike Tomlin magically got fired today, he wouldn't even think about it.
Mike Tomlin shattered the NFL's sacred code of conduct. The Browns' salary cap is in ruins. Joe Flacco's out there helping a division rival. And Deshaun Watson's contract? Still hanging around the franchise's neck like an anchor? This isn't just football. It's high drama at its finest. It's chaos, spectacle, and pure entertainment, the kind of mess only the NFL can deliver. And at the center of it all is one question that echoes through every sports show, podcast, and group chat. Will Cleveland finally learn? Or are we about to witness another classic Browns meltdown in real time? Just when you think the Browns couldn't possibly make things any messier, here comes the wave of commentary. Analysts, insiders, and the never-ending storm of Twitter takes.
There have been a lot of shortcomings in other areas of talent acquisition that have led the Browns to be where they are right now. Why has this offensive line gotten so bad? Are you telling me that because Bill Callahan's not here, the offensive line is this horrific? I'm not saying it needs to be the best, but it shouldn't be this bad. How come you have not been able to find a young receiver that doesn't need to be making a lot of money that's serviceable? I'm not asking for Justin Jefferson. I'm not asking for Jamar Chase. I'm asking for average. And you can't even get that out of the receiver position unless you make a trade for it. And that only lasts so long. And Jerry Jeudy is not even as good as Amari Cooper was when Amari Cooper first got.
Suddenly, every podcaster with a mic is acting like a forensic investigator, breaking down Cleveland's front office like it's a true crime scene. Quarterbacks across the league are chiming in, shocked that Tomlin actually called out Andrew Berry so openly. It's like the football world collectively lost its mind. And through all that noise, the real story, the potential of Shadur Sanders to completely transform this team, gets buried beneath a mountain of hot takes, reaction videos, and meme-worthy debates. Meanwhile, the rest of the AFC North is sitting back, watching this circus unfold with pure amusement. The Steelers? Probably smirking in private because Tomlin just confirmed what they already knew. The Browns are doing the hard work for their rivals. The Ravens? Quietly popping champagne behind closed doors. And the Bengals? They're just sitting there saying, "Thank you, Cleveland," while Joe Flacco warms up in their system like a veteran rental car ready to hit the highway. And then there are the fans, the loyal, exhausted, battle-hardened Browns faithful. The poor souls who've seen it all. Gut-punching losses, endless coaching changes, quarterback swaps that make no sense, and front office decisions that feel like they were made by rolling dice in a dark alley. Yet somehow, they still show up, still believe, and still chant for hope. Because now, with Shadur Sanders in the picture, there's a flicker of light that maybe this is the one kind of energy that keeps them holding on. But deep down, there's also that familiar dread creeping in. The same voice that whispers, "Here comes the chaos again." Emotional whiplash doesn't even begin to cover it. This is the kind of drama usually reserved for reality TV finales or catastrophic family reunions, and somehow it's all happening inside the Cleveland Browns organization. The bigger picture, Cleveland's window of opportunity is shrinking fast, and Shadur Sanders is sitting quietly, watching the chaos unfold, probably shaking his head, already planning how to turn all of it into his advantage. That's the cruel beauty of it all. The Browns have everything they need to flip their story. The talent, the draft position, the spotlight. They could rewrite their entire legacy in one bold, smart offseason move. But they also carry decades of bad habits, impulsive decisions, and front office chaos that could blow it all to pieces once again. It's a constant tightrope walk between competence and calamity, with Andrew Berry stuck in the middle and Mike Tomlin somewhere in Pittsburgh, laughing as the Browns find new ways to trip over themselves. So here we are, fans, analysts, and casual viewers alike, strapped in for another unpredictable ride. Because if there's one thing Cleveland guarantees, it's unfiltered chaos. And if there's one thing Shadur Sanders guarantees, it's that he'll be ready, whether the Browns finally make the right move or blow it spectacularly on national television. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because in Cleveland, the drama never ends, and the Shadur Sanders saga is just getting started.